Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today's special podcast goes out to Rascal Family Member Daniela
Phantom
as we review the Disney Channel show Kim Possible.
Happy birthday, Daniela!
Yay! Happy birthday!
Now, Kim Possible is just an average girl who is here to save the world. She's Kim Possible. Okay. Kim is a teenage girl tasked with fighting crime on a regular basis while coping with everyday issues. Oh, come on. Basically, she's just your average girl and she's here to save the world. That's the best description for her ever.
That's it. Yeah, like, why do you get all technical here? Like, it's not that deep. So before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on future podcasts and more pause videos.
Yes, and I was so happy to know that Daniela loves Kim Possible because of her avatar, because we both love Kim Possible. And we've always wanted to do a podcast for the series. We did it as part of the Girl Power podcast years ago that
unfortunately didn't get a lot of attention as we thought it would.
Probably because of the characters we chose. We had Kim Possible, we had Powerpuff Girls,
and we had
Star. But to us, they signify or represent girl power. So we're very, very happy and honored to be doing this Kim Possible podcast for your birthday. Yeah. Enjoy.
Yes. And to know that Kim Possible is a part of a lot of people's childhoods is just amazing. And just about everyone we talk to has heard of or seen Kim Possible. Yes. We've even seen it referenced in manga.
Even though it's not part of my childhood, but I love it anyway.
Yes. And it's really, for everybody. Despite what Disney tries to do in later things with Kim Possible and trying to bring it back, Kim Possible, the animated series, was for everybody. It wasn't centered towards one specific demographic, though that was the intention at first. There was nothing wrong with everybody who's anybody just watching the show. At all ages, and anyone could see it. And that's what was the great thing about Kim Possible.
Absolutely. And another thing that really worked for the series is that the voice acting cast was spot on. Everyone was perfect. There was no one that you listened to and you would think, boy, someone else should be doing this voice, or why did they choose this person, or this person really doesn't work, but I'm just going to settle for it because that's who's doing the role. Sometimes that happens with different shows, but in this particular series, every person was cast spot on. And every single voice actor did an amazing job with their character, whether hero or villain or non-essential cast members. Every single person that appeared on the show, even the criminals or the villains who would come back from time to time, like Senor, and so forth, everyone was cast perfectly. So first, let's give a shout out to Christy Carlson Romano and Wilfredo as Kim Possible and Ron Stoppable.
Yes, they are very, very iconic. It's probably their forever roles.
Yes,
even though we've seen both of them in other shows, whether Disney or not, they'll forever be known as Kim and Ron.
Now, Wilfredo has a really illustrious voice acting career. Hint, put him in some more shows now that we know him as Batman and
Bumblebee
and
Lion-O.
Definitely so many other characters that he's made his own, and he's also made them iconic. But Ron Stoppable has a special place in the heart of Wilfredo fans because he was such a different character for him to voice. When you think about all the other characters he's done, they've been more superhero types, but in a different way, like the traditional superhero. But in here, he helped Kim Possible, and he earned his fandom in his own right.
Right. And the great thing about Ron is that usually for shows like that, they always have like the one capable hero and the one that's the sidekick and can't do anything. But the genius thing they did for Ron is that, one, you never felt like he just couldn't do anything. He got that he was scared, but he was brave enough to fight alongside Kim every single mission. And it even showed in one of the animated movies that when he's not there, she can't defeat the bad guys. He is very essential to the mission, to the team, because without him, she keeps losing the fight. So that was something really different to show that he may seem like he wasn't doing anything, but he really was the key to saving the day.
And this is another example of how to do a teen show right. The writers were brilliant. I can't think of one episode that I didn't like. I can't think of one episode where I went, this wasn't a good episode. I can't think of one.
Right.
I remember not only loving every episode, but the made-for-TV movies that came out, and the one that I went straight to DVD as well. They all were great. And every single episode and every single movie added something to the series, answered questions, was relevant.
Right.
And again, that's something you don't get from a lot of animated series now. This is just one of those series that was pure gold that Disney got and actually let the show be the show.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right. And out of 86 episodes, I mean, it was near the 100 mark, but we know the show came to an end after a while. And what was interesting to know was that this is actually where it started with Disney's 4-season contract thing. Because originally the show ended with 3 seasons, and the Soda Drama movie was meant to be the series finale. But thanks to the push from fans, Disney decided, okay, we'll give you 1 more season, and then it's done. So then they made a ultimum finale, so you know it wouldn't be a 5th season. And from then on, now every show gets 4 seasons instead of 3, unless Disney decides to be jerks.
And besides Kim and Ron, just about every character on here is memorable and different, and strong in their own way. Now we gotta mention, I know that he's not human, but Rufus, the mole rat,
what's that?
Nancy Cartwright.
What's that? That funny thing?
Who also does Bart Simpson,
right?
And you had Wade, voiced by Taj Mowry, the brother of the Tia and Tamara Mowry, or his sister twins.
Right. Yeah, John DiMaggio as Dr. Draken. Kim Possible, you think you're all that, but you're really not.
And who was supposed to be his assistant, but who really was his alter ego, Shigo, voiced by Nicole Sullivan, who also is a comedian outside of the show. She was on Mad TV, which came on in the 80s. She also played the daughter of, was she the daughter? She played on, what's the name of the show? She also played a neighbor on King of Queens.
Okay.
And she's had other roles in that, but this was her best voiceover animation role, for sure.
You can't forget, of course,
Gary Cole.
Right, as the dad. And who's the mom? Jean
Smart.
Okay.
Yeah, Jean Smart.
And you have Raven,
who is now on the CW show Stargirl, playing Stargirl's mom.
Oh yeah, that's right. And you have Raven Simone as Monique, the ever fabulous Monique.
Yes.
And then you have some pretty big stars doing the voices of the other villains
Patrick Warburton.
Oh,
not villains. Well, I thought you meant just guest appearances.
Oh well.
But yes, villains. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, they were other characters
like
too.
Ricardo
You're right.
Montalban, who our Nana loved as Senor.
And then you had Tom King, who's a big voice acting star as Monkey Fist. Monkey! Patton Oswalt as Professor Demento, who ended up reprising his role in live action. Jeff Bennett as the Ghost Car.
Frank Welker as Monkey Ninjas.
Right. April Winchell, Kathy Susie, Kevin Michael Richardson, Marisa Marsh.
And then on top
and Tom
of that,
Kenny!
Yes. You also had Elliot Gould as Mr. Stopple, as Ron's dad. And what was pretty outstanding about that is, once upon a time, in the 70s and 80s, Elliot Gould was really a very, very, very huge actor. He was also married to Barbara Streisand at one time. Yes, we know this because of her Nana. But you had some very big stars that appeared on here. And they even had Estelle Harris from the Golden Girls. You had people who made characters that became iconic, even when people didn't know who the people were doing the voices. I mean, like you had no idea who these people were, but you loved the characters and they became iconic. You knew who the villains were and you loved their performances. And it was wonderful that they had all of these guest actors who were able to contribute to this show and help to make it even better than the the main cast.
Right.
Not better than the main cast, but to make it better along with the main cast.
Right. And you said everyone.
Stephen Root.
Yeah, Stephen Root was like, they just had stars at the wazoo with the show. Heck, they even had Adam West in one episode, and a whole throwback to Batman Beyond. I mean, they had brilliant casting ideas for every single star they had on here.
Now let's talk about one of the things that really made this show stand out. Kim Possible, teen girl, average girl, as they say.
Right.
She ended up being a cheerleader, even though the cheerleading team didn't want her. She was very, very passionate about saving the world and being a superhero. She loved her family. She had her, her brothers and her mom and her dad and her grandmother. She had her best friend, two best friends. She had Ron and she had Monique, and she was just this really wonderfully written character. She was stable-minded. She was friendly. She was warm. She had her problems, but her problems never interfered with her being a superhero and doing the right thing at all times.
Exactly. Every once in a while she would have an issue, but it was always resolved before it conflicted. It never intersected and be like, oh great, this is taking over to this and this takes over the episode. So that's great that the conflict didn't overtake the superhero part.
Excellent. And she was pretty, but it wasn't where you were, it wasn't such a focus that you were like, oh, she's pretty and she's a superhero too. It was just, pretty was part of her personality.
Right.
She just, it was. Same for Monique. And I love that these characters, the focus was on what was important, the personalities, how they got along with each other, the values, doing the right thing, taking down Dr. Draken.
Right. Basically.
Who was hilarious in his own right. I mean, you gotta you gotta talk about the relationship between he and She-Go. Oh
right. Everything, it was almost like watching older Team Rocket. Every line of dialogue when they worked off each other was always brilliant. You always loved seeing their scenes together when they were plotting and scheming, and she would have some sassy remark to say about him, and he would say something back about her or something. It was always fantastic to see, even in the movies.
Yes. And it was hilarious because he was the leader. He was supposed to be the one in charge. He was the doctor. And She-Go was always the brains.
Right?
Except in designing, I
guess
sciencey stuff.
The machines.
She was the brains.
Right.
She was the one who always would help the plans to flow smoothly. She was the one who really always had the encounters with Kim, not him. He would always send her to do his dirty work. And then I love the episode where he told her she could take a vacation.
Right, and she thought he was saying something, or like, okay, you're trying to get rid of me. Like, no, he really meant let her take a vacation. She said, oh, that was actually nice of him. I should check on him. I was like, oh.
And then her Kim's two brothers and their twin language, and
the tweebs.
Yes, and how they had the brothers sister relationship, but she knew that when she needed them, she could count on them as well as the rest of her family. She could always count on Ron. But it was nice to know that her family supported her in what she did. And it wasn't a secret from them.
Right.
Which was also a change from so many of the superhero shows you have. It's a secret. Right. But no, with her family knew and supported her.
Right. And also her parents, usually in Disney shows or in a lot of animated programs in general, the parents are usually not perceived as bright, or usually they'll have a genius mom and a not so genius dad.
Like Marge and Homer.
Right, every time that was the staple. But for here, Both her parents were brilliant. One was a rocket scientist, one was a brain surgeon. They were geniuses.
And so are the twins.
Right. They only had their little ups and downs when it came to doing just regular things. They required scientific knowledge or something, but it was funny because they were trying their best to do something that didn't require you to solve an equation.
Right.
And they were very, very fun and always involved in Kim, and they were never dumb in any episodes or treated as if they didn't matter or they were uncool or anything like that. Even when they embarrassed her, they weren't uncool.
Definitely. And Ron and Rufus, who we brought up earlier. Rufus was adorable. Yes, he was a naked mole rat and he was supposed to be that freaky thing.
Right.
But you loved Rufus. Rufus was fun. Rufus was an important part of the show. Whoever thought that a pet would have, before Phineas and Ferb, whoever thought a pet would have so much to do with the show.
Right.
I mean, he was the original Perry.
Right.
He could do anything. He was smart. He was capable. He was Ron's. Ron could always count on him. He could count on Ron. They loved each other. He was the best pet ever before Perry. And whoever thought again that a pet would add so much to a show, but
right.
Rufus did.
Right. And we definitely need to bring up the two movies, which was A Stitch in Time and Soul the Drama. We will not talk about the live action movie. That is all.
I was supposed to bring that up. Shame on you. And everything that was put out, you actually own. You've got season 1, season 2 in the movies. But for some reason, Disney stopped after season 2 releasing the DVDs.
Right.
Which is a shame. It would be wonderful to be able to have the entire series.
Yeah. But we must say that we enjoyed the animated movies very, very much. Even if So the Drama was meant to be the series finale. Even if it was the series finale, it would have been a great send-off to the show. And even though it wasn't, it not being that, it still was a great addition to the show because everything that was made to the show, even with the additional season 4, it never felt like anything was out of place.
Absolutely.
Stitch in Time made sure it didn't affect anything else in the story with its ending. So the drama had a good conclusion, and season 4 still showed a great what happened, like not more like an epilogue, but showing a few more adventures to show them graduating and things. And it's one of the rare times when the extra season, the comeback, didn't feel like they were rushing to get it out, or they lost their touch, or it became uninteresting. It felt different from the other seasons. Nothing felt different, even after with Kim and Ron getting together. Nothing felt out of place. They kept it going, and they didn't break them up one episode into the new season. They just kept it going,
like the trope is now. Legend of Korra.
Oh
yes, yes. This is one of the best Disney shows ever. Absolutely, hands down, top 10. For me, a top 5. It is just an example of when everything goes right and when the network stays out of the way of the writers, unless the writers do what they do best, the producers do what they do best, and the directors do what they do best. So thank you, Disney, for Kim Possible. We're very grateful that this show was on for 4 years, and we're very grateful for this character who even all these years later is still well loved. Well, these characters, I should say, Kim and Ron and the others, is all still well loved. We still would love a return of Kim Possible animated. We still would love to have a movie animated. And I don't think we'll ever get tired of watching or talking about Kim Possible.
Right. It's just that iconic and timeless. Even though you knew it was currently based in the early 2000s, it still somehow felt timeless because it wasn't just a hindrance on what was going on in the 2000s. You knew there was a heavy dose of technology in there. Absolutely. So it had the modern day equivalent, but without being so modern that it feels dated.
Absolutely. So, if you've seen Kim Possible, and we know you have, let us know what you think in the comments below. Who's your favorite character? Do you wish there were a reboot, animated, with the original voice actors? Just tell us your thoughts and your loves about this awesome show. And Daniela, have a wonderful, fantastic birthday.
Yes!
And you have such great taste in shows and an avatar.
Yes.
And may you be blessed, happy, and Rascal Family loves you.
Yes, and also be sure to like, subscribe, and click notification bell to get updates on future podcasts and World of Paws videos.
Absolutely. And more birthday podcasts.
Yes. So thank you all so much for watching. I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
What's the sitch?
That's going to
and reporters sitting flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. There in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket. Give it to you later on in the form of a locket. People in the back, for the people in the front. For the people on the side, for the people on the front. For the people in the middle or the alley, wanna bump and everybody.